Welcome back, builders. You're tuning into an explainer by Forge College. In our last session, we tackled designing mitigation strategies. Well, today we're taking those concepts straight to the danger zone as part of our dynamic proxy and upgradability approaches module. This is all within the Advanced Solidity Project's composability course, which is part of our broader Solidity and Ethereum Quests guided projects. Our focus today? Managing state storage across proxies. If you've ever wondered why smart contract upgrades can sometimes blow up spectacularly, even when your code looks absolutely flawless, you're in the right place. All right, here's our game plan for today. We're looking at the delegatecall storage trap, the anatomy of a collision, our first fix using unstructured storage, our second fix with storage gaps, and finally, how to go about validating the fixes. Section 1. The delegatecall storage trap. Let's look at how data physical layout affects upgrades. Most devs assume an upgrade is just swapping out some code, right? A simple switcheroo. Unfortunately, it's actually tied directly to the physical data layout through a low-level Solidity function called delegatecall. To make this super clear, I want you to imagine our proxy contract as a massive, entirely dumb warehouse. It holds boxes, but it has literally no idea what's inside them. The implementation contract, on the other hand, that's the strict architectural blueprint telling the warehouse workers exactly where to place every single box. So delegatecall is just the process where the proxy borrows that blueprint. It lets the implementation execute its logic, directing workers to exactly which numbered square on the warehouse floor they need to place a box, all while blindly reading and writing to those specific physical proxy slots.
So here's the absolutely crucial point. The implementation blueprint relies entirely on the proxy's physical slots. It has absolutely no storage of its own. None. Zero. Zip. If the blueprint says, hey, put the owner's address in slot 0, the workers literally run to slot 0 in the proxy's physical warehouse and drop it there. This total reliance on the proxy's physical space, that's exactly what sets up a massive danger zone when it comes time for an upgrade.
Moving right along into Section 2, Anatomy of a Collision. Let's see what actually happens when these layouts change. Okay, imagine we've been running our protocol smoothly for a year using Blueprint version 1. The warehouse floor has boxes stacked in very specific spots. In our original, totally safe blueprint on the left, implementation V1, it declares owner first, so the blueprint maps owner to slot 0. Then value is declared second, mapping to slot 1. Everything is great, right? But over on the right, we have a completely chaotic V2 layout. Let's say a developer, maybe a slightly overeager intern, decided to just tidy up the code and moved the value variable to the top. So now value is mapped to slot 0 and owner gets pushed to slot 1.
Because we didn't clear the warehouse first, the results are basically catastrophic. We just handed the workers a brand new blueprint. Notice how slot 0 used to hold an Ethereum address for the owner. Slot 1 held a numeric value, let's just say the integer 42. Well, after the upgrade, the V2 blueprint tells the workers that slot 0 is now the integer value, and slot 1 is the owner. Because the blueprint changed, the proxy just unknowingly handed protocol ownership to the random integer 42. No way, right? It's a total absolute collision.
Section 3. Fix 1. Unstructured storage. Let's look at fixing this and protecting proxy data. Okay, take a breath. We do have ways to prevent this. We're looking at the first of 2 engineering marvels designed to save our warehouse from total architectural failure. This addresses a really specific dangerous collision where the proxy's own administrative data gets overwritten. The standard industry solution here is EIP 1967. The core idea? The proxy needs to hide its administrative clipboard in a secret randomized location. I mean, think about it. If the proxy stores its own implementation pointer at slot 0, and the implementation blueprint also decides to put the owner variable at slot 0, they collide. So the proxy's pointer needs to be hidden far, far away. To find a spot safely out of the way, we use a cryptographic hash. By taking the ketcheck256 hash of a specific string and subtracting 1, we generate a storage slot number that is just astronomically large. I mean, it's so far away from the standard application data, which starts predictably at 012, that an implementation blueprint would essentially have to declare trillions of variables to ever even get close to it. This unstructured storage slot keeps the proxy's most vital secrets perfectly safe. All right, Section 4. Fix 2. Storage gaps. This is all about ensuring forward compatibility. But hey, what about the blueprint itself? How do we protect version 1 of our application from colliding with version 2 or version 3? The solution is actually elegantly simple.
We just add a line of code like this to the very end of our storage declarations, a private array of 50 empty 256-bit integers. Back to our warehouse analogy, this is literally the equivalent of taking bright orange paint and roping off 50 empty squares right in the middle of the warehouse floor. By explicitly reserving this space, we guarantee that if future upgrades need to add new variables, they can safely claim a few of those empty squares without causing all the older, existing boxes to shift around and crash into each other.
Section 5. Validating the fixes. It's time to test this in the lab.
Now, it's one thing to understand the abstract theory of unstructured storage and empty gaps, but it is a whole other beast to actually prove it works. We need to transition from theory to the local debugging lab. Here's the exact testing sequence you should follow. 1. Deploy the proxy and your V1 implementation. 2. Run a Hardhat test upgrade to that bad V2 layout. 3. Inspect the raw slots to physically watch the collision happen. And 4. Apply our unstructured storage and gaps, and then test it all again. I bring this up because hands-on validation like this is a core part of the learning methodology in Forge College programs. You don't just read about it, you deploy it, you intentionally break it, and then you fix it.
And how exactly do we inspect the damage? Well, we use this beautiful line of code right here. Get storage at. This ethers.js command is the ultimate truth teller. It completely bypasses the smart contracts logic and lets us peek directly into the raw warehouse slots on the blockchain. We use it to prove our fixes worked, checking that the implementation address is indeed sitting safely in its massive hashed slot and that slot 0 holds exactly what we expected to. I really want to emphasize this point with a quote directly from the source material. Public getters assume a slot. Always run raw slot inspections to find the ground truth. This is just absolutely critical to understand. If you just call the public owner function, the getter will literally lie to you during a collision. Why? Because it's viewing the corrupted data through the lens of a flawed blueprint. It will happily return the number 42 as if it were a perfectly normal address. Direct slot inspection is an absolute necessity.
So let's wrap this up and summarize everything we've learned today into 3 golden rules of upgradable storage. Number 1. Use unstructured storage for proxies to keep your control data hidden and safe. Number 2. Reserve storage gaps in your implementations to allow for safe, predictable future expansion. And number 3. Always run raw slot inspection tests to verify your layouts before you ever push an upgrade.
I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Is your proxy's storage truly immune to the next protocol upgrade? Well, after today's explainer, you have the exact engineering practices to ensure the answer to that is a confident yes. If you want to dive deeper, practice these exact concepts in a real local environment, and master more Web3 development topics, head over to forge.college. Check out our guided projects, get your hands dirty, and keep building securely. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.